Now you may think diabetes is the same for every mammal, but you would be wrong. Diabetes in cats is completely different. So first let's talk about what diabetes is. Diabetes is a common disease found in pretty much every animal in the world. Basically when their insulin, their pancreas, can't keep up with all the glucose that they're taking in their diet. Now I bet you're probably all wondering, why do I even have to listen to her? She probably doesn't know what she's talking about. Well, besides the what felt like past 10 years I've been researching this to write this speech, I'm also a veterinary assistant and a pre-vet student, so I think it's safe to say that you can listen to me. So it's very hard to diagnose diabetes in cats, not only because they don't cooperate very much, but also because their stress levels can affect their glucose readings. Dr. Rand says that stress can cause the glucose readings to skyrocket. This can make a normal cat seem diabetic. Because of this, we do multiple glucose tests, fasting glucose tests, tests done throughout the night, periodically, and we do it all with this machine, a glucometer. So what we do is we take this lance and we poke the capillary artery in their ear. Then we take a test strip, put it in the bottom of the glucometer, and that will tell us everything we need to know about their diabetes level. Normal range is between 80 and 120. Anything above or below that can suggest diabetes. Now that's the hard part, getting a cat to let you do this to them. The easy part is treating it. With every other animal, it's very insulin forward. You get insulin, you get a syringe, and you give it to them, and that's how you maintain it. But with cats, it's very food forward. You get low carb foods, and that is how you treat it with them. Dr. Rand says feeding high carbohydrate diets increases the demand the body has for insulin. If you reduce that, then their need for insulin decreases. Their pancreas isn't good at making the insulin that the body needs. So if you decrease the amount the body needs, then they can become self-sufficient and go into remission. Luit Moria states that 1 unit every 12 hours is effective in maintaining the proper insulin levels for a cat to get them to this remission rate. Now a unit is so small, we have to develop special syringes with special tiny needles to do this. 100 units is 1 ml, and 1 ml is already tiny in of itself. So once you're done stabbing and making your cat bleed and poking it with very small needles, you get to the lifelong care that it's going to need. With most other animals, this would be insulin for the rest of its life. But with cats, it's just a food. Feeding this low-carb diet keeps them at that level where they can be self-sufficient. Andrew Bugbee, in a case study, reports that there are remission rates of up to 75% of all diabetic cats. But you get those owners that are in that mindset, my cat doesn't have diabetes anymore, it's perfectly fine, which leads us to Gastel and Neeson, who found out that there is a relapse rate of 26 to 30% of all cats that are in remission. These owners believe that they can just go back to feeding these high-carb diets or going back to letting their cat be 600 pounds instead of keeping them at a healthy 8 to 10. This leads them to relapse. This leads them to start the whole cycle again, jumping every hurdle, going through every hoop to get them back to that 75% remission rate. So once you jump through all these hurdles, getting them, figuring out how to make sure so you can stab them with this machine, getting it into the glucose test, because let me just say, cats don't bleed. You can poke a cat 15 times and still not have a tiny little drop of blood to run this test. So that's the hardest part. The easy part is getting them to eat the very, very tasty diabetic management food that they love. So, cats don't play by the rules, which we obviously all know. Sleep for 27,000 hours a day. They throw stuff all tables. They should be afraid of dogs, but let's be honest, they run the house. So it makes sense that they don't play by the rules of diabetes. They don't have a lifelong condition that can ruin their life. They say, all right, let me get this nice tasting food and then be done with it. Let me make sure my human coddles me and then, well, I'll be fine. Just let me take a nap again.